Welcome, folks. True North Insight, and I'm Jill Davey, one of the Dharma teachers with True North Insight. And today is Wednesday, January 20th, 2021, and it's a day that's known as Bodhi Day. And Bodhi Day is, well, it's a little confusing. Some people say, no, it's not. That was December 8th. There's actually two Bodhi days that are acknowledged because this date today is based on the lunar calendar, or, the natural cycles of seasons and moon cycles that I think everyone used to follow. But then in the 19th century, some Buddhist traditions adopted the Gregorian calendar and kind of pinned Bodhi Day as a certain day. So it's always celebrated on December 8th. And, but uh, I'm happy to go with this one and feel a little more connected to maybe this time, how it would have been 2,600 years ago, following the cycles of the moon and the seasons and all of that. So, uh, yeah, so Bodhi is a word in the Pali language, which means awakened. It means enlightened. And so this day, this Bodhi Day celebration, is a day that's celebrated as acknowledging, marking when Siddhartha Gautama became enlightened. So the words, the Buddha, is actually an honorific term that means awakened one who has become awakened or enlightened. And it wasn't actually his name. He was born Siddhartha Gautama to in the Sakya clan in India, and this is why the Buddha is sometimes also called Shakyamuni Buddha, meaning the sage of the Sakyas. That his family clan, Sakyas, and he was the wise one from that. So he's the Shakyamuni Buddha, which means there's other Buddhas as well. There's other awakened beings before the Buddha and uh, since Buddha, likely, that maybe that I don't know about. Um, but this particular Buddha is the one that we usually refer to as the Buddha. And yeah, another, and so that word Bodhi Day, Bodhi meaning awakened, is where the word Buddha comes from. It's like the root of the word Buddha, meaning awakened one. And another connection there is that it is said that the Buddha came to this awakening, which I'll talk about in a moment, whilst sitting, meditating underneath the Bodhi tree. So the Bodhi tree is sometimes also called the Bo tree, just B-O. Um, it's called a Ficus religiosa, is the technical or the botany name for that particular type of fig tree. And so this sacred fig tree, it's in Bodh Gaya in Bihar, India, is where the Buddha was meditating and practicing when he awoke to what's now called the Four Noble Truths. Um, but a little more here about this word Bodhi. So there's another term called, doesn't matter what it's called, but Bodhin-manas, which means having an attentive mind. So to be awakened is very much about having an attentive mind, an awakened, alert, seeing clearly, compassionate attention or mind. Yeah. And actually, this, what we're talking about of Bodhi, consists of, awakening consists of, is made of, comprised of 7 elements. There's 7 factors that contribute to awakening. And we'll have an opportunity to practice that, because the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, was not a god, is not a god, a deity, was human, just like us. And so it is possible for us to also awaken, to also be free from suffering, the suffering of suffering. One of the things I like about how Bodhi Day is traditionally celebrated, it's not my root culture, but from what I understand and what I've read, and so I apologize if I'm conveying that incorrectly, but it's celebrated so simply. It's not like, you know, some of our maybe other traditions that some of us may celebrate that are, you know, really big and expensive and a lot of time decorating and then packing up the decorations. But traditionally, Bodhi Day is celebrated with breakfast, usually of rice and milk, because that is said to be the meal that the Buddha had the next morning after this awakening. It's such a sweet and simple meal. Sometimes there may be sweet tea or little cookies made in the shape of a Bodhi leaf from that Bodhi tree. It's kind of a heart shape, which is also nice. Some of the practices of the celebration might include watering a Bodhi tree if people have one, or adorning it. You know, it can also be a smaller plant-like tree in the house, adorning it with colorful lights or reflective ornaments that are said to reflect what's called the triple gem. The triple gem is our own Buddha nature, that we all have this potential to awaken to how things are and to experience less suffering, in short. Another one of these aspects of the triple gem is called Sangha, which means community. And the joy we all felt in the beginning of this, before the recording, we were sharing in the Zoom room, of hearing each other's joys of the day, simple joys, or recently, it doesn't have to be today. And how touched we are by hearing from each other and sharing and connecting, especially in these times of isolation. And also the support for us to practice, to meditate with others is a great support. Who was it? Dan Harris on the 10% Happier app said, he called it a bumper sticker, that enlightenment is a team sport. So good. So enlightenment or awakening, freedom, is a team sport, meaning we need each other, we need community, connection, support to really walk this path. Similarly, Thich Nhat Hanh, a well-beloved Mahayana Buddhist teacher, um, said that the next Buddha is Sangha, meaning, well, I can't say exactly what he meant, but what I understand of what he meant is that the next enlightened being is all of us, is Sangha, is community, and how, and I think that's partly why I'm feeling some more joy today, is because this is also the inauguration day and beautiful, monumental possibility in the inauguration of the first Black female South Asian vice president, as well as uh, this beautiful young poet, Amanda Gorman, 22-year-old, sharing her inaugural poem, the youngest inaugural poet ever. And one of the lines in her poem that's it's wonderful. You can find the transcript of it online. I'll put a link to that in the chat below the YouTube recording. Her poem is called "The Hill We Climb," and she said, really naming that this time where a skinny Black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, to only to find herself reciting for one. So that's a very joyful possibility is here in our sense of interconnectedness and community and inclusion and dismantling of oppression. The other part of the triple gem that's reflected in the ornaments on a Bodhi tree is the Dhamma. So Buddha, Sangha, Dhamma. And Dhamma means the teachings, the practice, the path, what the Buddha offered us after his realizations of how we too can walk that same path. And also included in that is the sense of all the ancestors, all the Dharma ancestors, the meditative ancestors that are here with us. Thousands of years, 2,600 years of people carrying this practice and holding it with such care and offering it freely. That's very inspiring to me. So before we practice, and I'll guide when I'm guiding the practice. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But yes, I will. Some of these elements that make up Bodhi, there's 7 factors of awakening, are things that we can do. Like, we can really do these practices, any of us, even if you're brand new to practice. So I'll include that. Maybe I'll just list them so that maybe that's helpful. So their mindfulness is the first, which we're going to go through. And then investigation, which means curiosity, really paying attention and being interested, not just like, yeah, I'm breathing and now I'm thinking about having tea later. But like really paying attention to whatever the object is or whatever the present moment is showing. And then those two bring the third factor, which is energy. The energy then has a quality of joy to it. So there's joy again, and it's a very important factor. It's different than what we sometimes think of as joy, of more like elation or exuberance. This joy has the next element, which is calm. So it's a sweet joy. It's a pleasant, calm, abiding. Yeah. Okay, so there's mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, calm. And then these all bring concentration, and this flowers into equanimity. So these are the 7 factors. Okay, so before we practice, I want to tell you this little, I was going to say story, but I happen to believe it's rooted in truth. So let's see how far to go with that. Siddhartha Gautama, when he was a boy, his father was like the head of the clan in their community. He was, some people call him a like prince. His father wasn't a king, so, but they were leaders in the community and like the head of their kind of tribal area. And so he lived with a lot of privilege and pleasantness and protection in his younger years. And he left that to go on this path to understand how to be free from suffering. And in that journey, exploration, practice, he practiced almost to the point of death. Very extreme, austere practices, barely eating, kind of a renunciation, a denial of the body, so much so that he almost died. And then he had a memory in his pursuit of awakening and almost dying. He remembered this. A time when he was a young boy and his father had taken him to watch this ceremonial plowing of the fields before the planting of the next year's crop. So you can imagine this, the whole community comes out for this celebration of beginning to plow the earth and plant the crops. And it's a community celebration. So all of the villages and townships took part in this annual event. And so his father, Suddhodana, left him in the care of his nurses in the shade of a tree, a rose apple tree specifically. And so his memory was, that is shared in the written recordings of the texts that were shared from the oral tradition. The nurses then kind of left him there in the shade of the tree, resting, and they were watching this plowing that was happening. And as he recalled it, in this beautiful day, with this calm and relaxation, this pure feeling of joy arose. And this joy is described as being unbidden. It just arose. And maybe you can recall there's times when all of us have had a glimpse of this. It's not from some external striving on our part. Like we're not getting something that's going to make us happy. It's just a moment of, just thinking, Terry shared a beautiful one of just hearing the sound of a squirrel or a chipmunk squirrel, the nails climbing up a tree on this cold winter day, you know, or the sweetness of a hug from a dear one, or even if we're not doing anything, it's just sometimes awareness just opens to joy unexpectedly without any striving. And this state is beyond the ego. It's a state of rapture where the attention is just wrapped, like engaged with whatever is happening. And there isn't a self all up in it. Like, oh, I want that to continue. I want to get that, and or keep it, or I'm going to come back every day and see if I can get it again. Because when those thoughts come in, then the joy actually disappears. And that sometimes happens. But sometimes we just have for a moment of just opening, just peace, joy, and it has this calm quality to it. And it also can have a real natural compassion to it. The heart connects with each other, connects with the world. Yeah, and we wish for all beings to experience this joy. And that experience instinctively, naturally evolved into the first state of deep concentration for this young boy, Siddhartha Gautama. That was his first experience of what's called the first jhana, just naturally, spontaneously arising from this calm, relaxed joy. And he just slipped into this state of concentration. So later in his life, when he was almost dying from striving and efforting to awaken, he remembered, oh, yeah, remember that happened, that time of just sitting in peace and stillness, calm, joy. And that is how the middle path arose. It's from him remembering that he's like, maybe there's another way to go about this. And this is how, then he, after remembering that, then he took some food and emaciated, exhausted, dangerously ill, he remembered this. And he said, could this possibly be the way to enlightenment? Could what's called nibbana, freedom, this final awakening that he had, be built into the structure of our humanity? And he saw that this is actually a profoundly natural and available and possible for human beings. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's do that. We're going to practice now. Good. So get comfy, upright, relaxed. I should say also that parts there I was kind of glancing at or reading from Karen Armstrong's book called Buddha. And it just kind of like an autobiography of, or a biography of the Buddha, not autobiography, biography of the Buddha. So coming into a posture, if maybe you would like to invite imagining yourself laying under or sitting under a Bodhi tree or any other beautiful shade tree on a hot summer day. And there's a sense of community around you. The community here of each other meditating. And those later on the YouTube that may be practicing, feeling into all of us that have practiced together and will be practicing. The sense of community of the thousands of years of ancestors that have been practicing for peace and wisdom. The sense of springtime joy and celebration of the Shakya clan plowing the fields, and how this is done in all cultures and communities around this globe, and has been for thousands of years. So as you feel into this sense of community, begin to relax, softening any tension that isn't needed right now. Perhaps the face can become peaceful. And if it feels appropriate for you, a little brightness. Definitely not a forced smile, but a little uplift of joy felt in the area of the mouth or corners of the mouth. The bones of the shoulders heavy and sliding downwards. Dripping any tension that isn't needed off of the fingertips. Sighing breath if you need it to soften the area of the heart center and the belly center. And as the upper body softens and relaxes, you might feel more heaviness, weightedness through the bones of the pelvis, legs and feet. Sitting on the earth under that tree, relaxing into the support that's here for you. And feeling the earth in relationship to you, as if it's moving up to hold you as you rest with it. What does it feel like in the body if you allow yourself to really receive that support, that cool shade, the solitude and the community? Relaxed and yet alert, aware, awake. Joy and yet calm, at ease. Just sitting. And this first aspect of having an attentive mind, awareness, this natural state that is here for all of us, is just being mindful, just knowing, sitting, present moment. Sounds coming and going, sensations, thoughts coming and going, emotions coming, going. Just this bare, kind awareness, just enough attention to know present moment. So that when attention has moved away to other objects of thoughts or plans, worries, memories, that's gently noticed at some point, and we begin again, just sitting right here in the center of this moment. And this is the mindfulness, is just remembering and beginning again. And then we bring in gently this second element of Bodhi, of awakening, which is curiosity. Not needing to figure anything out or think about anything, but really open to how it is. There may be sensations in the body, tingling or pressure, temperature, sensations of movement, texture. Experience of sounds. So we just really turn up the light a little more to really pay attention to this moment. not through effort, not through striving. And you might find that this curious, kind attention brings some energy, a little bit of wakefulness. The energy to continue, the energy to begin again. Mindful, curious, interested. A gentle, wakeful energy that has the tone, the flavor of joy. A natural arising, without striving. A simple joy. And it's very skillful to pay attention to it. Allow it to flourish a little bit without clinging. What does it feel like in the body, in the mind? This bright, calm, interested happiness. Letting this quality of joy suffuse your whole being. It might just feel like a little bit of energy or tingling or brightness or vibration. Might feel spacious or and if the mind comes in and says, well, not for me, or not right now, that's not possible for me. It may be helpful to recollect a time when you felt joy, the way the Buddha did, that led to his awakening. Recall a simple, sweet time. A natural arising, and allow that recollection to bring this energy and brightness. And if you feel some connection with this sense of joy, it doesn't keep escalating into exuberance. It levels off or eases into a joyous calm. Relaxed ease, simple, sweet. We're still mindful and curious, energized, gentle joy and calm, all here. Awakening to this present moment. mindful, curious, energized, joy, calm, unified, collected. Equanimity. And in these last few minutes, beginning again, relaxing under the tree, safe in community, joy and ease, awake and calm. the invitation to just stay resting and open, relaxed, receiving hearing as you hear these 3 bells, and just allowing this attentive mind to follow the sounds through their ending. When the 3rd sound ends, gently ending your practice. So if you're here on the Zoom call, you're welcome to stay for a few moments. And if you've joined us on the YouTube channel, thank you for being here. I'll put some links down below, and there will be also a link there to offer support to myself or to True North Insight as you're able. And happy Bodhi Day, happy awakening. Every day is Bodhi Day. Every day is Bodhi Day. Wake up. Life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes quickly and opportunity is lost. Let us awaken. Awaken. I will not squander my life.